Russia just asked China for military assistance. Yeah, that's right. Russia just reached out to China and said, can you help us out with this whole war scenario? Because it's not really going as planned. We were supposed to steamroll Ukraine and this is all supposed to be over. But what if I told you that China completely denies these allegations? That Russia did reach out for military assistance, including military equipment, things like drones, etc. What if I told you that China said, that never happened, I've never heard of this? You know what else China's never heard of? Well, the invasion itself. They ran defense right in the beginning to say that there was no invasion in Ukraine, when Russia was literally rolling around in tanks, shooting stuff. Also, what is that country's government that said that COVID wasn't human to human transmissible, so don't shut down your international borders? That's right, that's the Chinese government. We're talking about the country that runs defense anytime that there are allegations that something unsavory is going on. But what if I told you that it gets so much deeper and so much worse than this? Because China and Russia have straight up joined hands in their propaganda effort to brainwash you. It's coming from every angle, and they are getting everyone that is willing to join them in this effort to make sure that you think that Russia is not only justified in their invasion, but also that China is the great peaceful mediator in the situation, and they didn't have any sort of nefarious goals in the invasion of Ukraine. So will China actually send troops over to help Russia? Because we know the outcome of that. If China joins Russia in this invasion, then it becomes a global matter. But to really understand what they're gonna do in this situation, whether or not they're gonna help Russia militarily at least, we really have to look at how much they've done together thus far, because it's even shocked me how much China and Russia has come together in this invasion of Ukraine.
Because various Russian propaganda outlets have been either blocked or throttled in certain parts of the world, China has picked up the responsibility of spreading Russian propaganda on behalf of the Russian government. Okay, here we can see a China Daily official state media putting out a tweet that says, hashtag Russia has practically completed the mission of destroying hashtag Ukraine's main military infrastructure, including weapon warehouses, ammunition depots, aviation and air defense systems. President Vladimir hashtag Putin said on Saturday. This is what you would expect to see coming straight out of Russian state media, Russian propaganda. But for some reason, here it is on Chinese official state media, right? Oh, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, okay?
So I've been doing a long-term project on the female influencers of the Chinese government masquerading as not being affiliated with the Chinese government. And it's been fascinating because I've uncovered a lot of people. And this one just popped up on my radar again because of what she's doing with Russian propaganda. So this is Miss Wow, or they call it Miss Wow China. And she's got almost 1.3 million followers on Facebook. So that's huge, especially for a Chinese propaganda outlet.
Sure.
But masquerading is not being propaganda.
Yes.
And she used to be called Techy Rachel, as you can see, but they changed her name to avoid scrutiny. When they get caught, turns out Techy Rachel is actually just Chinese propaganda.
Well, I mean, look, Facebook
has designated this publisher because it believes it may be partially or wholly under the editorial control of the state. This is determined by a range of factors, including but not limiting to funding, structure, and journalistic standards.
It's very clear that she is part of the Chinese state media, okay? Well, Facebook has designated her as such. And if you were to listen to or view any of her videos and her content, you would see that absolutely she is just propaganda. Here's a little taste.
Hey guys, Miss Bao here. Welcome back to my channel. Have you guys watched Putin's television speech? I did, and I think we witnessed the history.
The Russia-Ukraine crisis. The 9M73 ballistic missile launched by the Iskander-M has a range of 500 kilometers and has a payload of 500 kilograms each. Payloads.
Obviously, it's a payload. Payload. It's a payload.
So what I want to point out here is her original thing, Techy Rachel, or Miss Wow China, is literally supposed to be a non-government affiliated vlogger that talks about Chinese tech.
Yeah, Chinese
That's
tech.
it. That's it. Like laptops, cars, like self-driving, autonomous stuff. Why is she now talking about Russian missiles?
Well, that's the thing. You see, now all of a sudden she's talking about Putin, and I thought what we'd show is the that this is actually quite a common thing that happens with the Chinese propagandists. Okay, is they get used for whatever is the word of the day, basically.
Yeah.
Okay,
What you're seeing here are all different clips
And then take
from
a
many different YouTube channels. I've just spliced them all together. These are paid influencers by the Chinese government propaganda arm, all going to Xinjiang at exactly the same time. In fact, many of them can be seen in each other's footage because they were all there, being bussed around by the government and taken to these specific places in order to deflect away from what's actually happening in Xinjiang.
Remember China's big genocide denial push where they got all these compromised influencers to go out there and basically say that there's no genocide in Xinjiang? Well, guess what? Let's see who happens to have been there as part of this whole genocide denial thing.
And because it's a tourist attraction,
playloads.
now they're the paradise of the clay crafts.
Now they are the paradise of the clay crafts.
Oh, look who it is. It's that old
Oh,
guy.
it's the old man.
If you didn't see that, we talked about him in the past, but that old man has been used in so much like genocide denial propaganda that he's like the poster child.
It's not his fault.
No, but he's just in every single one of
The Chinese
videos.
government get all these Uyghurs to dance around and pose in all these things, and all these people that get paid to go to Xinjiang to deny the genocide, he ends up in this footage because there's only a finite amount of people that get paid to be in these like Potemkin villages, basically.
Yeah.
So long story short, Miss Wow China, or Techy Rachel, this girl that's been popping up on my radar for Chinese propaganda, is not just a tech blogger. She's a Russian propagandist now. And prior to that, she was a Xinjiang genocide denial. These people get passed around.
Yeah, they basically get used for whatever, like I said, the message of the day is. And so this was a couple of months ago. She was doing genocide denial with all the other shills. I did that whole thing called China's Genocide Theme Park Exposed, which just showed they all went to the same places.
Yeah.
They all do the same stuff. So she was doing that. And then she was talking about tech. Then she was doing this. And then suddenly now she's like, Putin's amazing. Look at all this Russian
It's
tech.
so out,
And Russian
out of
missiles
left
are
field.
great.
It's so out of left field. If you go look at her media, you see like, oh, look at this new Xiaomi whatever. So anyway, long story short, the shift.
Yeah.
I've been watching her go every time China's mad about something in the West. They get her to go read a script, go to the contentious area,
Yeah.
and now go basically champion Putin. And she keeps rattling off. Each time Ukraine loses a big piece of military equipment, she makes a video about it, but she has no idea what she's saying. She's just reading a script.
She doesn't even know how to say payload, okay?
She's saying
she doesn't-
playlos.
Everything that she's doing is reading a script, obviously.
Why do they call you?
Oh, wait, yeah. Hang
I
on.
just want to say, the greater theme of this, what you guys have to understand is that this is Russian and Chinese media coming together because Russia is getting blocked everywhere. So
Yes.
China's doing their job.
Doing their job for them. The thing is, you find out that this all ties together.
Yeah.
Now they're the paradise of the clay crafts.
Why do they call you Miss Wow? Is it because you're beautiful? Is it because you're beautiful?
So, yeah, you'll notice that
Oh, one of the shills.
the shills, they're all connected. All of these propagandists that work for the Chinese state, they're all connected.
Yeah.
It's like one big directive, and they've got a certain amount of people that they have on retainer. And whenever they need to do genocide denial, for instance, they call up the regulars and they all go out to do their little vloggy. Oh, look, I'm an influencer. Look, there's nothing to see here.
Get ready for a bunch of, the shills, as we call them, the paid CCP shills, whether they're Western or Chinese. Wait for them to start going on about the biolabs in Ukraine,
yeah,
by the
of
way.
course.
Very soon.
They already are on
Yeah.
Twitter, a lot of them and stuff.
Get ready for the videos, though.
Russia-Ukraine war entered into the second week and 3 rounds of talks, and we've seen the wall-to-wall coverage on the global media. But there's always something being overlooked, ignored, or downplayed by the Western mainstream media.
Is in a position to answer back. They have their own television platform, CGTN, which broadcasts in English and has an increasingly ready audience all over the world. And that's why I'm particularly happy to welcome Li Jingjing, who's a journalist and broadcaster on that very same broadcaster, CGTN.
But first, thanks for having me, George. I've been following your work for a while as well, so I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, so, I mean, first of all, you can see that suddenly she's on her own personal channel doing Russia-Ukraine commentary.
What did she say, though? She said,
the Western media is so biased. I'm going to show you the real deal.
So if you follow her, she is a known Chinese propagandist that pretended like she was a normal vlogger, by the way.
Yeah.
Completely
So,
normal.
take a look. Then she's on RT, which is, of course, Russian propaganda, Russian state media, which, by the way, has been blocked in many places. But now here's the fun part. See her personal channel, Li Jingjing?
Yeah.
That episode of the cat Galloway, or whatever this disgusting man...
Schrodinger's Galloway.
Yeah, Schrodinger's Galloway. Is on her channel. Now, look. I can play and watch that entire interview of Russian propaganda on her channel. No problem. There it is. And she even says it's episode 111 of the Mother of All Talk Shows in her description. So when I go and search that and I find the official source, which is, Russia Today, RT, guess what? Video's unavailable. You may not watch it. That's because it's been blocked. So you see what's going on here is they are basically by proxy... they're doing the job of the Russian propaganda.
Can you go back to hers where you can see it? This is a fantastic analogy for you guys to understand that when China put their full backing behind the Russian government for the invasion, whenever there are sanctions, whenever there's a problem where they're getting cut off, they've offered an out. So when they blocked Swift banking, they offered them the Union Pay system, the chip system.
Yeah.
When they block imports from Russia, like wheat or something like this, they open it up. They open up the avenue. They reduce all restrictions, right? When they block stuff, and this is what we've discovered, when they block Russian state media in the West for disseminating misinformation about a military conflict, China is actually actively sidestepping that boundary.
Of course, and they're taking the RT stuff and then reposting it on their state media, which is still open all around the world.
Which is breaking the terms of service of these platforms that have decided not to spread Russian propaganda.
Yeah.
So, all I'm saying is action should be taken against anyone that's disseminating this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it hasn't yet, because we've seen so many examples of this now.
Yeah, and why do we not have a state-affiliated label on her channel?
Where's the state affiliation, YouTube?
Yeah.
George Galloway, Cat Galloway, literally says she is a CGTN reporter, right? This is not a personal channel. This is someone that's in the party's propaganda department.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
Just put a label on it so we know.
Exactly.
That's all we're asking for.
Anyway,
you got one on Twitter.
What else? There's something else.
Oh, yeah,
of course, that's
certainly
interesting to see. Never mind the fact that you can't watch the real thing and she's puppeting it. But go back to the whole Xinjiang genocide denial thing and you'll find out that there she is as well. Doing Xinjiang genocide denial. Look at how happy everyone is over there. People just dance. That's all they do.
They hired the shills, the Western
floppy hat
shills
vegetable lords there as well.
for genocide denial.
Yeah. It's all about genocide denial. So you can see how the same faces keep cropping up. Here, I made a tweet where I said Russian state media has been blocked or banned in many places. So now Chinese state media and their propagandists are spreading Russian propaganda on behalf of Russian state media and giving them a platform. For instance, King Ramses II is posting Sputnik and RT content. So if you take a look, our good buddy, the shill King Ramses II, even...
Let's not call him a buddy.
Yeah, okay, well, not
Just
buddy.
in case people are confused.
Yeah, okay, we're just, we're familiar to the channel.
Yeah.
King Ramses II over here, he even says that this following clip is from RT and Sputnik because they've been banned. This is basically he's got the RT...
and he plays it in its entirety.
Yeah, so he plays the whole thing.
Russian
there
propaganda.
It is. So he plays Russian propaganda on his channel because it's blocked. Now, isn't that kind of like, let's say the police come and arrest the drug dealer on your corner, okay? So you're like, oh, well, look, obviously what he was doing is illegal, and they took him away because he was selling drugs. So because he's not here saying, I'll sell the drugs instead. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And I do want to say something.
Yeah.
When you have, go back to the Barrett. Barrett, by the way, just so you guys know, is a Chinese propagandist. He's one of those Westerners. They pick Westerners because they think they'll make people believe them more. He works for the Chinese propaganda department. And what happens is is they'll make videos about the Chinese state narrative. In fact, we have proof that he does scripted videos for the Chinese government, gets paid to do so.
Yeah.
In fact, the same agent reached out to us to try to get us to disseminate
And used
Chinese
him as an
propaganda.
example, said this is somebody who we've paid in the past.
Just so you guys understand. So when the Chinese government says, okay, now propaganda department, all on alert. We're doing Russian propaganda now because they're blocked.
Yeah.
They're kind of effectively throwing these guys to the wolves because these guys operate these channels and they obviously get their profit off of them, right? But at the same time, if something happens to where YouTube or any of these social media platforms say, hey, you can't do the Russian propaganda stuff, right? Then they get cut off and China's like, we'll get another one. Because they're constantly training these guys.
Sure.
It's kind of like
they
this.
trade them, yeah. It's like
do.
when they get old hat, they chuck them out and get a new batch, you know? According to spokesman Price at State Department Spox, the hashtag US does not own or operate any chemical or biological laboratories in Ukraine. But Undersecretary Nuland admitted the existence of biological research facilities in hashtag Ukraine. Who's not telling the truth?
So this...
and that's, by the way, RT, so Russian state media.
Isn't it interesting? What's going on there? What is the Chinese government doing?
Yeah, the Chinese government is basically just showing Russian propaganda.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, I mean, here we've got some translations which you can see from the Chinese internet, from live streams and from Chinese news sources and so on. It says, plague and anthrax viruses. Russia claims they have discovered an American biological warfare laboratory in the Ukraine territory. The US embassy deleted all relevant documents overnight. And you can see that, like, there's these comments, okay? These comments have got, by the way, that was from K News. Russia claimed they have found US fund Ukraine to make bioweapons. So this is being put around Chinese internet as news from a news site. Got all these comments that are saying stuff like, UN and WHO, come out and explain this. I urge the UN and WHO to provide an explanation. This is a crime against humanity. Thank God it's discovered. Oh, how many innocent lives would have been killed had it leaked out?
When you have a situation like this, it's a perfect opportunity to realize that China, when there was speculation about the Wuhan lab, when there was speculation about COVID origins, all this kind of stuff, it was shut down completely in China. It was a blackout, media blackout, until they could come up with their own narratives. And they've been telling their own people over and over again, it came from India, it came from America, it came from Japan, it came from Australia, it came from New Zealand.
Yeah.
To the point where the populace is like, like I said, apathetic about it. This is just a new opportunity, right?
Yes.
Oh! They let the populace run wild with it. You notice none of the official channels said, oh, COVID-19 came from the Ukraine labs.
Yeah.
They let the people run with that.
Well, they do. They put out these little seeds. They allow it to blossom. They allow the entire population to grab onto these conspiracy theories as if they're fact. And of course, there's a lot of conjecture here. There's no proof saying, America actually did set up labs to...
But you can claim anything.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. By the way, what's this over here? The WHO said preliminary investigations conducted by Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus identified in Wuhan, China.
It's interesting. It almost reminds you of that time when China told the world that you shouldn't shut down your borders because COVID's actually not human-to-human transmissible.
And this was when they already knew that there was human-to-human transmission.
Yeah, and it's not that they put that out. They got the WHO to put that out.
Yeah, they got the WHO.
Just remember China's motivations here.
Yeah, whenever they're talking about biolabs and whatnot.
China's coronavirus blame game now shifts to Italy. China suggests Australian beef exports may have first introduced coronavirus. Chinese officials blame U.S. Army for coronavirus. China's scientists claim virus born in India. West experts refute. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, so when China's talking about biolabs and whatnot, they obviously don't have a clue what they're talking about. They know nothing on this subject. It's very clear.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to go check out my daily content channel. There's content pumping out every single day, and it's all about China's current events, so you can stay on top of things at all times. It's called China Fact Chasers. Go down below in the description. There is a link to that. Please help build up the channel. We want to get people subscribed over there so we can spread the word about what's actually going on in China. The Chinese government does not want people like myself talking about this kind of stuff, so let's do our best to help spread the truth.